SMT Nation, we back. Nation, T-Mobile's back. I can't tell you guys how happy I am about this. As of right now, at my workplace, you have the trifecta here represented. This is the stadium behind the school, and all carriers have all their tower gear represented here in the picture. And you know, it's made for a really good experience for Verizon and for AT&T here in this area, because I mean, you can't beat this, right? You got a school that probably has 1,000 people in it at any given moment. You've got neighborhoods around there. They're selling the home internet, by the way, too, Verizon. And now T-Mobile, I guess, can get involved too. All right, so they're back, and they were gone for a while because the whole like Sprint decom situation. And I'm just glad T-Mobile's back. All right, so they're doing their upgrade. I'm going to tell you guys what's going on. I spoke to the crew. They gave me some of the details, and I'll explain all that's happening here as I post these photos onto my X account. And if you guys want to follow me there, that handle will be in the description, and ways to support us will be there as well if you want to show your appreciation for the content here on this channel. All right, so what's going on here? Well, a couple of years ago, I'd say just over 2 years ago, with the whole like Sprint merger situation, T-Mobile was prioritizing, tower builds and tower upgrades and modernizations, right? They really were focusing on making sure they had a good widespread signal of the 5G UC with N41. Well, since that point, things have really stabilized for them in this market, and there hasn't really been much to do, right? For the most part, the last year has been very quiet for T-Mobile, with the exception of a couple of densification add-ons. And, mostly it's been about just upgrading older sites that were like lower on the priority. And this was one of those sites that basically was decommissioned and looks like it's being recommissioned. Now, in that time frame, Verizon has been on an absolute, onslaught of upgrades. All right, here's the Verizon upgrade, right? You've got the C-band on the left. You've got the CBRS next to it to the right. Modernization, right? Verizon's cooking. You got gigabit speed off peak, even during peak, 500-600 megabits. AT&T followed that upgrade several months later, right there on this pole, right underneath T-Mobile, with the C-band and DoD combo and the full modernization. They're cooking with gas too, so we've got really fast networks, great signal quality. This particular location, and shout out to the guy who's climbing down here on the pole, putting in the work. Shout out to the carriers, really doing a good job of triangulating their tower sites here in this area, making it really nice. Pretty good signal for all three. The only company that has been weak here with respect to capacity has been T-Mobile. Now, this is going to be great, and I'm going to tell you guys why. You have one sector facing the school, you have one sector facing the neighborhood on the other side, and then you have a sector that's going to face down towards a dead spot where there actually is a capacity need. So it's triangulated perfectly with respect to the sectors. Now, when I spoke to the crew and I asked them a couple of questions as they were kind of coming down and finishing their work for the day, this was about 3:30 in the afternoon, so they were wrapping things up. Something that I noticed was one of the panels, and you'll see here, seemed damaged. And I don't think it's damaged. I think it's just dirty or something. I don't know. But I think some of the gear is used. These antennas were already on there and existing. And so was this one. So they're basically adding the big one and the small one, the N41 piece. And they did mention that they are using massive MIMO, right, for this upgrade. So what we're looking for specifically in reference to is this square antenna. So it is going to be massive MIMO, and there is a 10 gig fiber circuit available to the site for use. So that means all three carriers will have their fastest connections available on these three towers, and all three are using 10 gig fiber circuits. Most interestingly, when I was speaking to the technician and the owner of the business, he told me that they had been doing a lot of work for Verizon. Specifically, he mentioned, Verizon lighting up dark fiber, and the fiber circuits being an important part. Verizon did a lot of work in preparing all of their sites for that particular upgrade to these towers. So I found that interesting that he had noticed that, and that's something that they had been working on with Verizon. And I found that to be most impressive. He didn't really name or mention anything about AT&T, but he spoke specifically about the work they had done with T-Mobile and with Verizon. And of course, the crews are really looking forward to opportunities to continue to work as companies modernize. AT&T still got a little bit of work to do. Verizon is mostly done with the macro situation. He did tell me that they had been putting in some installations in the small cells and the C-RAN. He also mentioned that there was nothing in the pipeline, C-RAN for T-Mobile, that he knew of, but did say that there had been some work for them to do with respect to T-Mobile in situations like this with old Sprint decoms or recoms. So this is really good, and this is very welcome. This should really make the connection fast. Previously, inside most parts of the building, T-Mobile had averaged between 50 and 150 megabits per second. This should boost the indoor performance. I would expect gigabit speed throughout, I'd say, maybe half of the building, and any other major parts, probably, 2, 3, 4, 500 megabits per second. You got to think about wall obstructions and construction equipment and material, but it should be really good. So that's it. I can't ask for anything better than that, and hopefully it's tuned well. I don't see why not. But this makes their tower grid pretty tight in this area. Puts it right on par with AT&T and Verizon. So I'm super psyched about this, and we'll definitely be testing it for you guys and getting you some footage and explaining what's going on there with T-Mobile as it compares to the competitors, AT&T and Verizon. Tell me what you guys think of this upgrade. If you have any questions I can help answer, please do ask. I'll see if I can do that for you guys, and testing to come. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe for more. Turn on the bell notifications to never miss an upload, and comment down below. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.